In the news this week, shark spotting triggers culling debate once again.
Fremantle pull out its Australia Day fireworks celebration.
And Matthew Pavlich inducted into the Fremantle Sporting Hall of Fame.
This is the Evening News with Ivan Lung and Daniel Staniskov.
Good evening. The fear of shark attacks are back, with the state government putting drumlines into the ocean once again. Opposition MPs and experts argue the shark cull solution won't increase safety on our beaches as summer is approaching soon. Helene Fong begins our coverage.
Winter is drawing to a close and summer is approaching soon. But the sharks are already lurking near our coastal areas, sending Fisheries Department staffers into panic mode. An unprecedented 61 sharks were spotted between the 6th of June to the 26th of August, forcing the state government to put drumlines off Trigg and Hillary's beaches. The move has attracted criticism from opposition MPs.
They're very expensive, they're unpopular, they don't make our beaches safer, so the Barnett government should just stop resorting to this tactic. It doesn't work.
Ocean and shark experts have also raised concerns that drumlines will harm the ecosystem's food chain if too many sharks are being killed.
When they took all the tiger sharks out of the system locally, now we're seeing an overpopulation of salmon. So our salmon season was longer than usual.
Federal Liberal MPs wrote to Federal Environment Minister Josh Frydenberg, urging him to lift the great white shark's protection under the Environmental Protection Authority. However, the minister stated that he has no plans to review the policy. Helene Fong, WAMN News.
Fremantle City Council is under immense pressure to withdraw its decision to forever cancel its Australia Day fireworks celebration. Some prominent Aboriginals believe the move won't do the community any favours, while the Mayor denies the council is being anti-Australian. Nelson Liu takes a look.
It's the way Fremantle celebrates Australia Day, a fireworks display by the water to mark the birth of the nation. But next year's show is now being scrapped because of its Indigenous insensitivity.
It's actually a day of sadness, and a day of where for them it actually symbolises the start of their dispossession.
The city of Fremantle is cancelling its fireworks from next year in favour of family-friendly events also celebrating Indigenous Australians.
This decision actually came about really in conversation with Aboriginal elders actually coming back to last Australia Day, where we actually at Australia Day were talking to them around what Australia Day meant to them.
To Aboriginals, the day is a reminder of colonisation by British settlers. But cancelling traditional celebrations have also been criticised.
The city is disappointed because we have been in a partnership arrangement with the City of Fremantle for a number of years now. It's a well accepted event by the community.
Experts say Australians should be recognising the nation's past.
It is obviously the colonisation and establishment of the colony, but it does affect the First Nations. And I think we need to take that into consideration.
The cancellation of Fremantle's Australia Day fireworks has drawn a strong negative reaction, but Mayor Brad Pettit says scrapping the celebrations in favour of a new event is designed to promote greater cultural inclusion. Nelson Liu, WAMN News.
The Department of Immigration and Border Protection has been accused of randomly granting visas to refugees. Close to 100 protesters gathered at the DIPP office and marched into the city. Demonstrators said the system is unfair and demanded the federal government to stop detaining refugees.
The government continues to lie to the Australian public. It continues to demonise asylum seekers. Mr Dutton continues to say that asylum seekers are faking incredible illnesses such as cancer in order to get a preferred migration outcome. This is absolutely absurd.
A $1.7 billion emergency loan was put into Parliament this week to avoid a potential shutdown of state government services. The cash injection is desperately needed for the government to pay its civil servants before the funds run out by the end of next year. Although the opposition made the criticism comment, they admit that it will be incredibly hard for the next government to reduce the debt.
We have a terrible set of books, a terrible set of finances. Western Australians ask me all the time, how do we get to this position? And the fact that we have now getting rushed into the Parliament, the authority to borrow, to seek to borrow a further $1.7 billion to get us through to next year, just shows again a government obsessed with itself and not with the financial management of the state.
At least 267 people were killed and more than 400 injured after a devastating earthquake in Italy. A 4.3 magnitude aftershock was recorded, with more houses collapsed shortly after the shockwave. Over 200 people were rescued in the area, but the death toll is expected to rise. Italian Prime Minister declared a state of emergency and announced a raft of funding and tax-free incentives to prepare for area recovery. He also promised a reform into improving building safety standards.
The United States has warned the so-called Islamic State is looking to expand into Asia by joining forces with locally based extremists. US counter-terrorism coordinator reminded other countries about IS's history of partnering up with other militant groups in the Middle East. The counter-terrorism team urged governments within the region to team up and prevent extremism after the coordinator visited Jakarta, Singapore and Malaysia this month.
And finally this week, AFL Fremantle Dockers legendary captain Matthew Pavlich was adopted into the Sports Wall of Fame by the Fremantle City Council after he announced his retirement. He'll be joining other sporting legends such as John Worsfold, Luke Longley and 78 others who have made major contributions to the sporting industry.
Normally we wait 5 years before someone can get on into the Fremantle Walk of Fame, but in Pavlich's case I think it was an exemption from that because he's already undoubtedly deserves to be there, and I think Fremantle will really want to acknowledge right now the great contribution that he's made.
And those are the top stories you need to know this week.
We have the latest news on our website and Facebook. Have a great week.
See ya.